If you need any Xbox or PlayStation codes or anything gaming related, check the referral links down in the description. They'll take you to g2a.com. They already have a discount on most of their goods already, and with the code CHES at checkout, you can get yourself an extra 3% off as well.
Hey guys, how's it going? Ches back again, and welcome to episode number 32 of the Inter Milan career mode here on FIFA 15. We start with a friendly today at home against Dijon, although obviously, as always with pre-season games, minimal highlights, and we'll get straight into the transfer action sooner rather than later. It was actually Dijon, though, we're going to have the first chance here. Not the best of shots, but Fabien Schär, after missing the first tackle, gave away a penalty by lunging a second time. I didn't see it initially. I had to wait until the replay. I was a bit perplexed as to how they got the penalty, because I made that challenge there, missed the ball completely, and then he had that extra little lunge there that I didn't see in real time, and unfortunately we gave away a penalty. So Handanovic versus Tavares. Tavares steps up, hits the post. I think brilliant. They're not going to score. The rebound drops straight to one of their strikers, and they make it 1-0 anyway. So fair play. Dijon lead Inter Milan 1-0 in this pre-season friendly so far. Not the result I was looking for. Brought on Safir Taider, as you saw there at half-time, or just after half-time. Squeeze the ball through here to our other substitute, Romero, who came off the bench. Our new signing scores, but it's disallowed for offside. So unfortunately, despite finding the back of the net on his non-competitive debut, it doesn't quite count. It's not a legitimate goal, so we'll have to just do it again for me, hopefully. And then we pick up a penalty at the other end, or at the same end rather, in the second half. The same end, they scored their penalty, we scored ours. That made it 1-1, and that was the end of that game. So I was kind of glad to see the back of that, because that wasn't the most entertaining of games, or most fun of games. Unfortunately, though, there was only 4 days between Inter versus Dijon and Inter versus Chelsea. Slightly more difficult, this one. Obviously, it's Chelsea, but we'll do our best. And as you can see, Rodrigo Palacios slots through Freddy Guarin here after just 10 minutes. Really disappointed, actually, that the Colombian wasn't able to find the back of the net there. All he had to do was side foot it into the back of the net. And here, we're really unfortunate not to take the lead. Brilliant reaction save from Jamal Blackman with a bit of ingenious play, flicking it backwards from the striker, but unfortunately couldn't find the back of the net, but Boga could. Handanovic beaten at his near post. Extremely annoyed at Sami Handanovic there, and that kind of led me to think maybe I should sell him rather than Mauro Icardi. Unfortunately, again, he makes another save here, pushes it straight to Gael Kakuta, and that leads us to a 2-0 defeat at home against Chelsea. Now, obviously, I've been thinking, do I sell Icardi? Do I sell Handanovic? Handanovic is worth a little bit more, but there's less remaining on his contract, so I can't necessarily maximise the profit that I'll get for him, because teams won't be willing to pay it. We have had the contract offer accepted by Gökhan Toure, £20 million plus Ricardo Alvarez, but currently, I don't have the funds to be able to make that transfer final, to be able to finalise that deal. And also, I need to offer Mateo Kovacic an extra contract extension, because he was desperate for one. And despite the fact he's got 3 years, 10 months remaining on his contract, I didn't want it to get to the point where he was, becoming extremely unsettled, because I hadn't offered him a contract, and then we'd lose him, and the board would sell him a discounted rate. So I decided to just offer him the contract, as it was only an extra 10 grand a week. And then we got an offer in for Palacio, and I decided to reject it. We get an offer here for Handanovic, and I counter offered 33, and they came back with 31.5, which is very, very generous considering the situation of his contract, etc. So I accepted the offer, £31.5 million for Sami Handanovic. Hopefully that will go through, and we'll have to bring in a new goalkeeper, because obviously with Bardi and I can't quite Carizzo, isn't it, the other goalkeeper, we need to find a better first team replacement. Then I get another offer in for Mauro Icardi, and I'm thinking to myself, no, do I sell both? Or do I keep Icardi? I rejected this one from Napoli for 14.5 million, because I wanted to just make sure that I got a replacement in for Handanovic first before I did anything else with the rest of the squad. And as you can see, we get an offer in here as well for Ruben Botta from Athletic Bilbao for 4.5. He's valued at 5.5. I'm quite happy to accept his base value if they'll offer it to me. So we tried there to see if we could get that. Obviously, with the extra funds now from the Handanovic sale, we can go ahead and sign Gökhan Toure. Unfortunately, the time it had taken between him accepting the contract and me being able to finalise it, I needed to offer him the contract again, because they'd actually pulled out of the deal. But a replacement goalkeeper, I'm looking at Bernd Leno. We want to get rid of Nemanja Vidic, plus we want a first team keeper. So Vidic is actually still worth a decent whack of money, and Botta has been, or the counter offer for Botta has been accepted by Athletic Bilbao. So it looks like he'll be leaving us as well. Gökhan Toure wanted a higher squad role. More than happy to give him that. He will start ahead of Cavanda on the right hand side of our midfield 4 or midfield 5 technically, and they wanted 14 plus Vidic rather than 12 plus Vidic for Bernd Leno, which I was more than happy to agree to. Bernd Leno is a fantastic keeper, and to get him for such a cheap price, I was jumping at that. And as you can see, Gökhan Toure has accepted the contract offer, so that's him coming into the club now. And we've still got 30 million there left to spend to try and improve the rest of the squad. And then we get another offer in for Mauro Icardi. I'm thinking to myself, do I or do I not? Do I or do I not? Again, I decide to reject it, and he will currently stay at the club. But Bayer Leverkusen have accepted the offer. We get the chance to offer a contract to Bernd Leno, and I'm going to do so. Fingers crossed he will accept it straight off the bat, and we can get our new first-team keeper involved for the game that's going to be in tomorrow's episode, which will, of course, be the live comm of the European Super Cup final. Unfortunately, though, Bernd Leno declined the initial contract, saying he was happy where he was. He was a top player there, and he didn't necessarily want to leave, although he did the usual, I'm willing to renegotiate if you want, i.e. give me a little bit more money please. So I offered him 120 grand a week, and we'll see if he accepts that. Another bid for Mauro Icardi, this time 19.5 million from Tottenham. I decided to reject it because I had a look at my squad report, and actually, whilst we decided to keep Rodrigo Palacio, his stats are starting to decline. So I'm actually inclined to move Palacio on against my better judgment and try and look for a replacement for Palacio rather than Icardi with the money we have left now that we've had the contract offer accepted by Bernd Leno, and we're going to complete this deal. So as you can see, when I hit accept, you'll see on the transfer budget what we've got left, both transfer budget wise and wage budget wise, to spend 15.3 million plus 200 grand in the wage budget. If I do move Palacio on, we could probably get upwards of 10 million for him as well, and I'd be able to bring in a replacement for Palacio rather than Icardi, and Icardi would definitely stay at the club. But I don't really want to sell Palacio on, but if he's going to start declining in stats, then I really need a replacement sooner rather than later before his value completely deteriorates and, you know, he becomes worthless and we aren't able to move him on at all. I was thinking about moving Marco Sau on as well to try and raise some funds to bring in a truly world-class striker, but considering we play 2 up top, I would like an extra striker rather than just 3 with Dybala, Icardi and a replacement for Palacio. I would like to keep Marco Sau in to make sure that I've got 4, unless of course I can sell Sau, bring in a youngster perhaps, like someone like in the Twitch career mode I've brought in Anthony Martial, maybe someone like that. Obviously not people like Embolo or Yusuf Poulsen or players like that, or Villalba, like players that I've used before on the Twitch career mode. I don't really get on with those guys. They are very, very popular in the YouTube comment section just because they grow quickly, not necessarily because they're actually good to use. And I've tried to use them in other career modes on Twitch whilst I'm streaming, and I just didn't get on with them. So I'm torn as to what to do. I'm going to sell, I think I really am going to sell Palacio. It's a case of whether I sell Marco Sau as well and bring in 2 new strikers, or whether I just sell Palacio and bring in 1 new striker. I'm unsure right now, but tomorrow we'll have a live comm of the European Super Cup. Of course, we won the Europa League and Real Madrid won the Champions League in the first season, so that will come to you tomorrow. And then Friday, I think we'll be rounding out the transfer window. I'm pretty sure we will. I think this game against Real Madrid is actually like 3 days before the end of the window, and actually we have a league game on the Sunday after we play this on the Friday, I think. So rather unfortunate timing, but regardless, there is no way to change the fixtures, so we just have to take it on the chin and try and do our best. But we will try and sort out the striker situation before the end of the window. But right now I think the rest of the squad is actually very well set, so hopefully we can do quite well in this particular second season, get ourselves qualification for the Champions League for the 3rd season, and then we'll see what happens at the end of this season, whether we continue this or we move on and try something new and a new challenge. But for now we'll concentrate on this Super Cup game against Real Madrid, shall we? So that will bring today's episode to a close. Thank you very much for watching. Drop the video video a like if you enjoyed. Of course, there'll be a Career Mode Road to Glory episode later on tonight as well, so check your sub boxes for that. An absolute transfer bonanza in tonight's CMRTG episode. So many new players, it's ridiculous, so be sure to check that out in your sub boxes around about 8 PM. I won't be streaming tonight because obviously Chelsea are playing, so I'll be watching that rather than streaming, unfortunately, but we will be back tomorrow night with a stream, so definitely make sure you follow the Twitch channel in the description. But for now, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.